How do I legalize my documents to buy a real estate property in Brazil? Hello there, my name is Luciano Oliveira. I'm a Brazilian attorney. So important for you to understand your documents from abroad, they do not have value in Brazil. Some people incorrectly assume that their passport, that their birth certificate and their other documents from abroad are going to be accepted in Brazil as is. And that's not the case. The first requirement is for documents such as birth certificates, marriage certificates and divorce certificates to get something called apostille. The apostille is issued by the state where the document was produced. So in the United States, for instance, if you're coming from New York, if your birth certificate was issued in New York, the authority in charge of issuing the apostille is going to be the Department of State. There is a Department of State in Manhattan, in downtown, around the financial district, and there is a second one in Albany. In California, the entity in charge of issuing the apostille is going to be the Secretary of State. So every state is going to have a different authority in charge of issuing the apostille, and you should secure the apostille so this document is recognized as legally valid in Brazil. The second step is for you to physically send this document to Brazil so it can be translated by a sworn translator. Some sworn translators, they are going to be willing to work with a scanned version, but the complete procedure actually requires the sworn translator to stamp on the back of the document being translated. So our recommendation is that you follow the exact procedure by sending a physical version of your birth certificate, marriage certificate, or divorce certificate physically to Brazil, always by Federal Express. Once this document is received in Brazil, your attorney is going to hire a sworn translator. It must be a translator registered in Brazil to do the sworn translation. The sworn translation is a simple translation, but is done by a registered translator. And this registered translator, he sworns the translation in a way that's acceptable from a registry perspective. If you need a provider of sworn translation in Brazil, you're gonna find a referral for the translation company. The translation company is a long-time partner of ours, and they know exactly the requirements for the sworn translation. They may even, if possible, help you with the apostille requirements abroad. And their detailed information, website and email address as well, are in the description below. After the sworn translation, all the documents, originals and the translation as well, they are going to be recorded at a specific registry known in Brazil as RTD, which stands for Registro de Títulos e Documentos, which is a specializing registry taking care of publicizing documents that are recorded. It doesn't mean that they are going to advertise your document, but it means that they are going to be searchable from any place in Brazil, and that's going to meet a requirement from the Brazil legal system in order for documents from abroad to be acceptable in real estate transactions. Important to note that you may not need all the documents such as a birth certificate, a marriage certificate, and a divorce certificate. If you are just single, usually a birth certificate is gonna be enough, in addition of course to your passport and a proof of address. If you're married, then the registry authority, they are probably not gonna be interested in your birth certificate. They are gonna ask your marriage certificate instead. Now, if you are divorced, you need to prove both your divorce and that you're single. And in Brazil, the way that authorities are going to assess if someone is single or not is to look at someone's birth certificate. I understand, and other attorneys understand, that that's not how it works in other countries, but the Brazilian registries, they are going to think that everywhere else in the world is going to be just like Brazil. If there is no mention of a marriage on your birth certificate, it's probably because you're you're not married. So they make a parallel and they just follow the same approach in Brazil, even though, again, that's not how it works in other countries. So as a summary, if you are single, you're going to present your birth certificate. If you're married, you're going to present your marriage certificate. If you're divorced, you're going to present your divorce certificate and the birth certificate. If you're divorced, just for peace of mind, you may want to present your marriage certificate as well, so the registry knows about every single step: the marriage, the divorce, and again, the birth certificate comes to basically say that you're single. Interesting to note, the information about the apostille, sworn translation, and RTD, the recording at the RTD registry, is not known by every attorney or realtor in Brazil. So make sure that whoever is advising you, that they are familiar with the required steps for your documents to be accepted at closing. You don't want to find out that you're missing a document on the day of the closing once your money is in the seller's pocket and then all of a sudden you are unable to close. So make sure that your advisor, they know about such requirements, and make sure that the registry in charge of the closing, they are 100% on the same page in terms of the documents that you are presenting. I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, I will ask you to please like our video so other people can find it, and follow us for more tips.